playing career, what was the play that sticks out in your mind?
That run against Penn State. And I'm gonna set this up by saying one of my best friends, the linebacker on that team, Troy Davis, is from Jersey City, New Jersey as well. He played at Snyder High School, good friend of mine. So you had him, and then you had the other linebacker who I played against, who was my arch nemesis in high school, played at North Bergen. No need to mention his name. Anywho, he was the other linebacker, and I'll never forget it. The play prior to that, I think I got 3 or 4 yards, and he was just talking junk like he always did, even in high school. And in my mind, I already knew he overran the same play, a play prior to that. And we called the same play on the opposite side. So I figured he's going to overrun this play again. So, in my pre-step read, soon as I took the step, he was out of there. I mean, he was So I knew already, I'm going to take a hard step that way, and I'm going to cut back against the grain. And when that happens, it's going to be me in the secondary. And we already know who's going to win that foot race. So that's exactly what happened. I wound up breaking, I think, 2 or 3 tackles because he overran it. And look, I just, that was one of them runs where you just said, you know what? This is Penn State. This is national televised game. And again, I don't care if you play Penn State in the parking lot. You always want to beat Penn State. So that sticks out in my mind. That really does. Probably more than any other run, that particular run, because of what it meant and all of the trash talking.
I mean, that closed them out. That closed out the game. I mean, that was
Yes.
Yeah. That's the
Great
one
game.
I would pick. If you haven't watched it, check out the highlight. It's one of the best runs you've ever seen.
Thank you.
Something else I wanted to talk about too. You know, when you really look at West Virginia and the history of great running backs that they've had, what's one of the running backs that over the past 30 years has really stuck out to you? You know, we've had guys like Amos Zerway and Steve Slayton and guys like that. Which one of those guys kind of stuck out to you a little bit?
It's funny you say that because I was going to say Famous Amos. I loved what he stood for as a complete running back. Coburn. Avar, I just talked to him just the other day, actually. Again, I just love what he stood for. Not your over-the-top blazing speed guy, but didn't have to be. He was so smooth in transition and how he ran, and he can see. It seemed like he can see everything. Those backs was really special. Now this is funny. I remember Adrian Morell, and I was actually Adrian's host when he visited West Virginia. Adrian Morell was something special, man. Smooth, a real smooth back. And I'll never forget just his ability to, no matter where you are in the field, he can hit that big one for you, and did all the little things, all the intangible things to be a complete back. And that's why he did so well in the NFL. Michael Beasley, if you can remember.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I do.
He was another one that was just, these backs were all special. A.B. Brown, I played with him. A.B. Brown was special. Undra was underrated. Undra Johnson was a very good running back. And I think what happens is when you have to see, those other guys I mentioned had an opportunity to carry the ball, 19, 20 times a game. We didn't have that luxury because we all shared the load. We all shared the backfield. Any one of us, I believe, would have been 1,500-yard rushers had we carried the ball 21 to 22, 23 times a game. But that just wasn't, when you have that type of nucleus of backs in sharing the same, pigskin, it doesn't happen that way. But again, those other backs that I mentioned, they special. Steve Slayton, you can't, and I'll be remiss not to mention Steve. Of course, I loved Steve's running style. Listen, I'm sorry, he's going to kill me. Noel Devine.
Oh, yeah.
The human joystick. I
He
mean,
was
Jesus.
oh, he's a streak of lightning, man.
Yes, and what I loved about him, his high school highlight tape transitioned into college. Everything he did in high school, he was still able to do in college.
Yeah, and
Something
you
special.
like watching it, you wouldn't think that would happen. You know, somebody that I have to throw out there, not running back but fullback. You know, I always got to put Owen Schmidt in there because
Oh, yes.
that dude embodies what it means to be a Mountaineer just
Absolutely.
about as much as any player that I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
The
He was
runaway
special.
beer truck.
I will never
Absolutely.
forget that bowl game against Georgia Tech. First play, man, he rumbles off like a 75-yard touchdown. I mean, like, and it's the ugliest running you've ever seen. But man, you don't want to get in front of it because you're gonna die.
No.
You know.
Well, that's a business decision. You gotta make a business decision if you're gonna hit him.
Yeah, I mean, you know, splitting his head open with the head butting the helmets and stuff. I mean,
Right.
that dude embodies West Virginia, and I don't think he's another player that really he's from Wisconsin, and when he came into West Virginia, he really fell in love with the state. I mean, and he still lives here, makes his home here, and he's another guy that just just an amazing Mountaineer. There's just been so many amazing Mountaineers.
That's the key. And I'm hoping that these young people that are there now currently, I'm really hoping that they have the kind of experience that we've had coming through that fine university and graduating and doing good things in life. I'm telling you, it's hard to put it into words. I'm 55 years old and still feel the same way about Morgantown, West Virginia as I did back in the 80s. That's when you know you made the right choice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, shout out, and I'm giving flowers to all the fans. I want to thank every last one of you. I talked to a lot of the fans on Facebook and different social media outlets, and you fans are the reason why I even transferred to WVU. And for all of those fans from back then to current date, I appreciate you, and I really, and I humbly say this, thank you from the bottom of my heart, because that's the reason why kids come and want to be part of West Virginia, because of the great fans that we have.